Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as the last day, we mostly try to read any file. Okay, that is more like read and write that mostly we will use that read that file, and some functionalities like getting the which mode will be opening, some read lines, some reading the lines from the text file, some content reading part. Okay, those things we have done. Okay, how to handle the lines, how to creating the writing the loops. Okay, how that we can control the maximum chunk size there, and using the chunk size the entire element we can get printed. That part will be with the covered, and yes, that day I did not have time, so I write that how we can write the file as well. So let's continue from that part. Okay, while the opening, so here we will be like trying, we started one loop, one infinity loop, where we'll be printing the entire file size there. Okay, based on the chunk that we will be created, that the chunk size will be 50. So the measure the 50 element will be printed, then so on the next 50, then so on the next 50. And for the purposely, I will be creating one notation or the notify, that's the triple step. So purposely mention that how the 50 chunk will be taking there, and the file will be printed. So, and there is also one function in the file handling. Okay, that function we can tell like, suppose this is on the sample text. Okay. If I write like with open sample.txt, always define the mode, which mode it will be. In the open, if you see that the file, the major part will be there, that the file and the mode, that part will be there. By default the mode is our reading mode. Okay, if you did not mention, so it's good to mention that which mode you are using, reading and writing, so it will be useful to you that when while you will be working. Otherwise, like some other functions, like if you want to add one new line, if there will be errors, by default the none value will be taken, so there will be no that which encoding will be none. So whatever you will be written, that the file will be existed, that file it will be like get it out when you will be working with it. So it will not be much bother. Okay. But if you want to encode in another format, suppose you want to encode in UTF-16 format, then you have to purposely mention that which format you will be printing. Okay. But for major part, you did not for enter major your doc part of the text file, you do not have to mention anything there. Okay. And like open R, close FD, new line. Those are the minor things. We do not have to like specify more. Majorly, we have to mention that with the which file line and the which module you work. So purposely, as we are mostly working with the reading file, so we did not have to modify the file there. So again, something functionalities we will be providing when we will read that file. So we'll be generally using the read file. That's why we are mentioning R. Okay. And as yeah. And with is also like one the container you can tell. Okay, like the context container or the container, it comes with your try the exceptional and the error handling part. Okay, what that they will told you that the with helps you to automatically close that chunk when will which is the container, so not the chunk, when you will leave that container. Like suppose in the function there will be one chunk of your container, so the for space of the tab it will in general defines with it. So after we if we means leave that container, so automatically it will close that file, so we did not have to that means intentionally close it. Okay. So as we read that file, then suppose there is say that things copy, that's the size part. say suppose the size is 50 and we want to read that first 50 lines. We print that if content, the 50 line is be printed. Now if we write like suppose print f dot, there is one function called tail. If we call that function, it will be shows you that how many remaining file, remaining digit or say remaining character will be presented in your text file. That part it will be you can see using the tail function. So after using that the first 50 character, there will be another 51 character will be presented there. So if we need to know that how many characters will be present after we will be working, or say suppose if we like directly work with that, so that time the remaining part or the uh, rest of the element, how many of it will be remaining, that part we can simply execute using the tail function. So there is one and the last function we did not do, that is called seek. The seek function will be defining is, so after like suppose same example, if we take the same example, say size 10 and the content you will be printing. So first 50 element will be printed there. Now the seek function is allow it to at which position you will place your cursor there. Okay? So suppose if I write like f dot seek and then 0, so the cursor will be again set to our first position, that is 0th position. Okay. Now again if we print like same thing, that the 50 size will be taken and printed it out, you can see that the again 50 file will be printed because the cursor will be set to our first position, not text file. Okay. So that's the concept of the seek file. It will basically repositioning your cursor. So from which position you will want to again print it. Say suppose if uh, sometimes you need to do like you want to execute the entire suppose 10 lines of 10 lines of text file, and you want to set your cursor always the beginning of the text, or maybe after the first line of the text. So that time simply just like so comment it out, and suppose our first line will be ended say 3 5 10 9 11. Suppose 11 will be our first cursor position, and we want to whatever anytime we want to print, the first cursor position will be after 11 of the digit. Execute that. So you can see from that second position it will be printed. Now I start the file. So let's need to 15. So after the first position, always the entire cursor will be set at there. This will be measure the file reading part. And in general, in Python, we'll be mostly working with like reading part. Now, suppose you have to work with purpose to work with the writing part, then we can work with like same the last day. I will show you that how the open that file. You can simply change that mode to reading to writing. Say here, writing the file. Okay, writing it. Similarly, with
Sir,
yeah,
is it possible to change the cursor to set it at the end of the file?
yeah, possible. Of course, it's possible. But why you will need that? Because after the end of the file, there will be no remaining things will be there. No? So
Yeah.
there will be
No,
no.
I'm just asking.
Yeah. Obviously, you can do like, say suppose uh, seek will be 100, okay, or say we seek will be suppose 150, or maybe a large number. So obviously it will be in general set it, because it's hardly you can see the 50 I will use and 50 is remaining. So hardly it will be 100 or 101 digits will be there. Set it there, execute, and then nothing will be printed, okay, because the cursor will be ended. That's all.
Mm.
So yeah, always seek will definitely repositioning itself where in which position it will be necessary according to you.
Okay.
Definitely, when it has a less functionalities, I mean, means less logical sense, but definitely there will be some purpose of uses will be there. Maybe you need to set the cursor in the end of the file. Suppose you will be appending one file there. Okay. Suppose after that appending file, you after that reading the first part, some read operation you will done, and you have to append at the end of this cursor. Then obviously you have to I mean, state that cursor at the end of the file. Okay. So each and everything you want to. Yeah.
Sir, we can use tell and seek at a time.
We can use tail and seek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
See. Yeah. Those are nothing but your functionalities. Okay. Means when you be starting like oops concept, that is nothing but your methods that the presented in that class. Okay. So
Why? Because in the starting we are having 4 lines, but every time when we are writing tell and seek, we are getting only 2 lines. No, due to that, it's just repeating.
hmm
To get the whole 4 lines, what we have to do? Like simultaneously, we can use seek and tell. I'm asking.
no, if you want the entire content, just simply read it. Like
Read.
where there's the
Read line.
read lines, or say maybe a simple for loop will be work there. Okay, it's not about it. But yeah, the functionality is seek will only like reposition yourself, and tail is after completing that functionalities, what will be there? The remaining how many character will be remaining? That will be written when you call the tail. Okay.
Yes. Near tell we are having two, like it's showing the size 50. No, sir. After 50, we can see the number like more. We are having text up to 51, like sentences or any text related to 51. But
Mm.
when we are writing seek up to 15, then we are getting only two, no, due to that. We are
hmm
not getting the
So
number of the size. We cannot know the text, how much it's there.
So, like, suppose here you did the signal, so
Yes.
it will set it after. Suppose the if we take a raw number like 100 character will be there in that file. Okay, so after completed that, the sequence will be set it to 15. Okay, and it will be printed like here. Say suppose here you can do like um, f.c 15. Okay, now print.
Yes.
Because in general it's not showing there, it's not printing, because in general we don't do that. Suppose if we work with it, then it will already means the cursor will automatically set and the rest element will be printed. Okay. Tail will in general will use when there will be some modification we have to work. That time suppose some remaining part you have to do something, okay, some functionalities you have to apply it there. That time we will be working with this how many characters will be present. Those are the different methods that will be present. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So so writing a file. Suppose if you want any file, say any.txt any file, and so Suppose I write and file and open the position as a read mode, then what will happen? In general, you can simply guess that it will throw an error. Okay. Let's see that the first it will show the file not found error, because what write will does is, if that file ini is not present in that directory, so when we start doing as a write mode, it will automatically create one empty file. Say if we write like we same thing dot txt and change that file mode to our writing mode. So we are not doing anything, just open the container and ignoring everything. Suppose that file is not there in our directory. If we execute that, go to our directory. My directory this is my directory I am opening, where my current working, and that file name is any. Let's find out. You can see that the one text document that the any file is created. This is the size is a 0 KB, so nothing will be written. It is an empty file. So if that file is not present when you will be start working with writing mode, it will definitely like create one file. So always be cautious when you will be working with writing mode. Suppose maybe some important file is already there and you do know that, so it can replace that file. Okay, it may be replaced with the new file maybe you will be creating. So always be cautious when we working with writing file, because it may you're overthrown that the original file and the new file will be taken. So this is writing mode. Suppose if you want to write anything, say in this pass statement, we can simply write like f dot write and now execute. So that text file is already printed. Cross that element. You can see that the new size is created, that the 1 KB is already set there, and any file will be means your text file and what will be writing, so it will replace that. Okay, maybe some things will be there, so it will definitely replace that person. Suppose maybe you can write like, say, any garbage tags, another string, say execute it. You can see that it will be written there. The format will be maybe poor quality, so sometimes you need to use some basic string formatting operation, like using the new line, using a space and all. It's a manual, so it's not recommended and not recommended to write any file using that. So in general, if you need to like write anything, change that file, then you can use that right file. There will be tons of other methodology will be there. So suppose you want to replace it, say same thing, you just do like say write txt and execute it. Now go check to our file. You can see it will replace each and everything that will be previously written to the new file. Now there is one, and means again the seek persona seek the functions we can use. say suppose we want to replace a new file, okay, or the new text using there. So say, and the text will be starting from the beginning. So there the text one will be there. Say we will be reposition the cursor one. So f dot seek question, I will be starting from the 0, and now say write text 2. Okay, so we'll be replacing that the text will be with that new text file. Okay, now if we execute that, you can see it's simple, and it will be replacing here. The text will be here. Now the major problem is there will be bit strange when we working with the seek file and the copying, like rewriting the element in that same file like that. There will be some strange things will be happening. Okay, so that's why in general we did not in general we are not use like that right format. We can simply copy one file to another, then we'll rewrite it. Why? Let's see. Suppose that file, say let set it to our previous one. Okay. Now this is our file now. Okay, our file will be changed to that any garbage text. This is our text file. Now say suppose we change to the first position f.6 and say f dot write to a new text. If we execute that, if we see that first 4 digit is replaced and the rest of is remaining what will be written there, okay, from the previous file. So it will be a bit confusing that why it will happen. We did not want to use that. So sometimes you have to use one blank, entire blank, and then you have to replace that. So it will be a bit hectic. So in general, that's why we majorly use like we copy that file to another new one, and then we will write that. Okay. Say now first read that file. So we will be not writing that text file previously with open any.txt, and the mode will be reading mode. This is okay. Say this is better rf, so reading file, and then open another file in writing. Say any copy dot txt and open that as a writing mode as order. So now whatever line will be in there for line in reading mode, we want that to write in our, sorry, not rf, w, right. Okay, so whatever will be opening that file, then we'll be opening another file in write mode. So whatever line it will written in our reading mode, reading file, that file, that thing will be rewriting using our writing file. Execute it. Say first any, this is our text, garbage text, that's our file represented in our the reading file or the base file, you can say, and this is our new file. Okay, so immediately whatever says the problem will be occurring, like whatever things you need to copy and all, so that thing will be replaced. If you want to replace anything, just copy that from the previous one and retype with the network. That's the most standard. When you will be means working with large or huge file, then that time you cannot means hardcodely do that, like manually one file and two file, maybe 100 files will be there and you need to copy 100 of them from the 1,000 files, and you have to copy it to the new file. Then you can only use that like file handling. And maybe in server you can, maybe the UI will be not there in server, you have to do like code only or the commands, so you have to use that file handling. Okay. So this is the basically the text file. Okay. We can simply do like that, the text file. We can also copy one image file, like one JPEG file or the PNG file. Okay. Suppose if we download one file, say, one smiley emoji JPEG. Say download it. This is my current working directory, so I'm downloading it there. So this is one JPEG file, one image file. Now the same thing, if you want to do, like we want to copy that JPEG file to one another file, and yeah, this thing is simple. Like you have to do like each and every. It will start copying from one pixel by pixel. So which will be pixel size will be there. So pixel by pixel will start copying. If we write like say with open smiley.jpg. I need to see it is JPEG file or JPG file. JPEG file. It will be started, but let's see. Waiting file. It's not there. Now opening that file, you want to create one another file. Like suppose with open say smiley underscore one dot uh, just keep the same format, and the mode is writing form as rewrite. Now the same thing is, let's suppose for line array rw dot write and line. Now if you execute that, you will see that one error will be received. Okay, because the character mapping we will try to do when using the image format like JPEG format or PNG format. So that time I will just talk to you that it will start from the pixel, from one pixel to another pixel. So it will decoding trying to the byte size. Okay, so it will decoding try it into the byte format there. So there may be some formatting error it will be receiving. Okay, so you need to when you will be working with that kind of stuff, you need to specify that which format it will be working. So if we want to work with that binary format of that file, then we have to write like say in that read file we will to read like RB, that's the reading in the binary format. Okay, and also writing in that binary format. So now if we execute that, there should not be any error. And if we go and check if that file is already presented, you can see that the file is already copied. So whatever you will do is, maybe it's common to get errors there. Okay, so it's not a big problem because there will be tons of functionalities will be there. The file handling part sometimes may not be covered by each and every file. Even in internet, you cannot find like 100% of each and everything. Okay, so getting error is really common. So just go through which error will be there. Find that logic. Like we will be getting that the Unicode decode error. So which format? It suppose it will be decoding to a specific format. That's that binary format. So then after that you can work through it, like which format, which error will be working. Okay, suppose that thing, even the same thing, say copy it. Now suppose we will be specify the chunk size, the which chunk size you want to copy. Say our chunk size is suppose 100. Okay, at the 100 chunk we want to copy it there. So now, first, it will be taking by, as I told you, that it will be taking by pixel by pixel. So first, as that size will be taking the 50 character or the 10 character, it will be considering that the first 100 chunk, then the next 100 chunk, it will be decoding accordingly to its format. Okay. So if the chunk size will be 100, okay, say first read that chunk. Dot chunk is like we did there in the previously. Where is, yeah, that time first get that size, we read that size, then the functionalities was before is printing. So we started one inventory loop with condition and printed it out. The next for next character to get to the next character is that code filter. Similar things that we will do, we will create one chunk size, we read that chunk, we printed it out, then we read the again chunk, and then we will printed it out like that. Okay, so say that file rf dot read and our total chunk. Now write one while loop that length of chunk greater than 0. Then what we will try to write like w dot write chunk, and we'll read that remaining code. We first creating 100 of this chunk, we read that 100 chunk, that the chunk size 100 chunk we will be reading from that file. If it over exceed, it will be not problem, because it will read one, then it will be means the length will be not remaining, so it will not worry. Suppose the we when starting doing it very low quality picture, okay, so chunk size will be really low, suppose 30 or 40. Now if the first time it will be reading, so first loop will be printed, and the next it will be like counting the read the total chunk size, then the length will be 0, so that time the loop will be not execute. Okay. Let's execute.
RW.
uh, because I work with like WF, there W5. So you can see that the file will be treated. So always while we'll be reading and writing, it is better to use one condition, any kind of condition. So you should not get any error, or some maybe that the error will be there. Sometimes the infinity loop, if it started running, then there will be some crashes will be there in a system. So better always keep one condition, so each and any time if the condition will be here, that time the loop will be break. Okay, so that's for the opening part, file handling. There will be like appending and the other stuff. It's not in general, we did not like to do like append the file, because if we need each and anything, we will simply copy that, the most standard way. Until unless you had to do that, then you that time you will append. That's why we even, you will see that in a real life scenario we must not use that other part like read and write at the same time, or the append part, because those part is hectic and there will be chances of destroying your base file, or maybe some creating errors will be easy. Okay, I guess that part is clear.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is from the last means schedule that I finished. I will send it again, the same file, maybe some will be there. Now today I will start from, because one another thing is the parsing file, parsing
Sir,
auto.
one
Yeah.
sir, one thing is
Hmm.
R plus and W plus.
R plus and W plus is the read and write at the same time. Okay.
Yeah.
As I told you, that we did not in general use that. Okay. If you like want to know, then I will like give you. I had that model. I will give you. You can work through it. It's simple. Like the same things you will be working. Okay, and some extra functionalities will be there. But in general, even I recommend you that you should not go with that reading and writing at the same time. Okay, people do. You will show the industry that the people will do the sentence, but maybe there will be easy probability that you will change or modify the base file when you will work. Okay, sometimes it will be really problem, because here it is like 4 or the 5 character text file that I am working, or maybe 10 character. Suppose you will be working with proper CSV file, or maybe one data that the client side providing to you. So you always try that particular format. Suppose if I talk about size, suppose you will giving one 3 GB of CSV model where 5 millions of rows will be there. That you will, it's your current data. It will be what you need to start create one condition. We'll be creating one condition in mostly data frame will be working in pandas. Okay, and based on the condition, suppose 10,000 rows we need to extract there. Okay, so extract the 10,000 rows based on the condition, and we will be write another new file. So the base file always the set at the, maybe in future it will be used. So the base file you should not modify. Okay, so reading and writing mode is not, I will prefer, and even in real life in general I am not using that reading writing at the same time. I always copied that exact amount which I need to work with, then that copied file I maybe create in separate, and there will be some extra new facilities will be there when we'll be reading and writing in our data frame. Okay, some new functionalities that time I will show you. Okay, when I will be studying the pandas. So maybe even that format, that the reading and file, that things we may not use there. There's some easy and more new functionalities we will be using in pandas, because
Same code only we use, sir, while reading and writing both.
which code?
This with open, same code we will use.
No. It will be means lot or more easier when you will be working with data frame, because in data frame that the basic concept
Not
will be required.
not data frame, sir. While reading and writing, we are using the same code, right?
Yeah, the
With
same code.
open.
Yeah, with open.
For read plus and write plus also we'll do, while reading and writing both we are doing simultaneously, then we'll get same code I'm asking.
Same code. Yeah.
With open only we have to use a similar code like.
With is one, like with is creating one container. Okay. With
Yeah.
is nothing but like with, if you want to do other functionalities like with say suppose read. Okay, With is nothing but is a container that will support this kind of functionality. So what will be you will be doing, if we exit that container, so it will automatically close there. It's a one advantage will be working, so the error will not be there because it automatically do that. Okay, if we go to the raw code of the with module, or so now with module, the try and exceptional handling module. Okay, then with it, the work main working functions of the with is nothing but the minimizing your errors at which it will be possible. So that why we will be using with here, because it will automatically close. If we not using with, then you have to simple, like whatever file will be, you have to simple close it like that. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
With in general, even there will be many other functionalities that we can also use the with also. Okay. Hmm. So read plus write plus, if you really interested, then I will work with means in another session, maybe later on, maybe some doubt clearing session. That day I will be working the reading and writing plus. In general, if you not have to use that much, then I'm ignoring it. Even in real life scenario, you do not have to use that kind of stuff much. Okay. Hmm.
Okay, sir.
Now, before going into the parsing one, means the automated parsing, okay, we had to understand that how that the OS module work. Previous day, you will ask that what is the OS module? OS module in general, if you sometimes most of the time when you're working with real life scenario, you definitely working with the directories and the file and the file path, okay, your home path, those kind of stuff. It's really common. Suppose I do one project in my system, the file path may not be same to mine, or compared to yours. Your file directory, your maybe system, your operating system will be different. Okay, suppose you are working with collab, then you will be completely working with the server. So obviously you had to use the OS module to get that exact directory or the exact file version. So you will not getting an error. Okay. Sometimes you can do, even if you use Linux or Mac, it will be much easy if you work with that prompt or the terminal. But in Windows, the terminal is really means garbage. Okay, people are not using the terminal because it's in general most user friendly when you'll be working with the interface rather than the terminal, and the terminal it will be providing in your Windows is really garbage compared to your Mac and the other, where the other operating system, where the main terminal based functionalities is the major important than the user. Okay, in Windows will be major working with user. If you guys see one real life, like server engineer, okay, cloud engineer or the software engineer, then they will definitely ask you some question related to if you have any ideas or the basic commands. You will be working with the Linux, okay, basic cloud system, cloud architect, that part will be definitely based on the Linux base. So Linux commands and the basic functionalities you had to know. Even when I had to work with like production, uh, that time when working with that basic cloud part, like hosting that model and those kind of part, in the maybe hosting for a live scene, that time you definitely the AWS architecture will be definitely back then based on the Linux part. So Linux command will be really necessary. When if you guys are learning AWS, or if you want to learn AWS, then I highly recommend that whatever the UI part, like creating in AWS, suppose you will be creating one bucket. Bucket is nothing but one your chunk. I will say like one chunk you will be like a one working task you will be start doing. You'll be creating one bucket. There will be some hard drive of space, some RAM space you have to define, and we working. Okay, one instance. So, in example, like those kind of things, if we work, you can in AWS you can work with user interface, like basic some buttons, some options will be there, and you can read understand. But it will be highly recommend those guys also tell you that do those kind of things using the terminal. So learning the terminal commands and learning the Linux command, that's why really necessary. Sometimes the UI may not be presented, so you had to only work with the terminal. So those get fun, but if you guys are the really interested, I will highly recommend you that install if we have the spare drive, or maybe uh, external will be really good. But if you have even the spare or the free drive in your system, just create a small space like 50 GB and install new OS like Linux. Maybe you did not have to install the new. Sometimes in some module is already present in the web. Okay, some virtual machine is already present. If I just have to install that virtual machine, and you can go through the Linux part, and if you learn the basic functionalities of the Linux system, it will be really handy. Even it will be really handy for your future work, and it will be working with suppose future. Even sometimes you have to work with the cloud quota, so it will be really handy if you know those kind of comments. That's how I want to say. So that's why that the OS module will be key. So when we will be working with the directories and the file path, we definitely had to modify those file directories there. So each and every single one of people will be working. Okay. So for that, OS module is already installed when you install in your Python, or maybe install those kind of server related code editor like Jupyter and all. So those files already installed. You can just simply import it that. So the OS file is imported. Now the last day, as I shows you that the current working directory, you can work with like print OS dot then get
Get
current
CWD.
on working directory. Get current working directory. So this is the current working directory I want to is working. So one thing I can also shows you, like suppose the directory of the OS module we print, you can see there how many functionalities, like we'll be working with mkdir, make directory, make dirs. Okay, open we already did. When we'll be opening the file with open the context, that this is the same file, means the same method we will be working. Okay, that the open file we will read the path lib. Even we'll be working with Django, there we call the pathlib file or os.environ file. Okay, this is the major module we'll be working. So let's first change our current directory. Okay, say suppose suppose this is our one directory. This is one file will be there. Sorry, one folder will be there. The program means this is another directory. Then one is a session. We'll create one new file. Say demo 2. And one test. Now copy that file. Copy that file directory. Change it here. Write like os dot it will be the change directory dot change directory chdir, and then paste it. One thing is that the slash will be forward slash, not the backward one. Now print our current working directory. So the current working directory is presented. Okay. Now suppose you want to get that the list of directory is already presented. Okay. So for that, the command will be like, suppose print os dot list directory, and those are the directories. One is the file and those are the folders. Demo section of the folders and one is the file is in. Suppose you want to create one file, okay, one folder there. So for that, say os dot make directory mkdir mkdir, and suppose it will be new. Suppose I want to create one directory called the new, and if we execute that one, let's see. You can see that the new will be presented. It will be easily created there. One empty directory or empty folder, you will see. Suppose you want to create one directory inside one subdirectory, okay, like a tree kind of structure. Say os dot mkdir and suppose new 2, then slash demo 3 sub directory 1 sub directory 2. Okay, now we want to create that a directory inside that the subdirectory and the inside another subdirectory. Is one tree like structure. If you execute that, you can see that this make directory command, that syntax will not allow. Okay, so that's why when system try to create one directory, it will only allow to that one, but not that path specified will be there. Okay. So that path specified folder means the entire things you cannot create it using the single directory. That's why the most preferred the people will be using that will be make dir is. Okay. If we execute that, now let's go and check our file. That's new 2 inside that subdirectory part 2. So most preferably you will see that people will generally use that simple make directory because creating one simple single file directory. But in general, the preferred one will be the make dir. So you can create subdirectory inside the subdirectory and the much more things. The functions will be added. Now this is our list of directories. Say os dot. This is now list of directory. Now suppose if you want to remove that new folder. Okay. So see the command will be really handy and the useful. I mean, for removing directory, like creating directory, it is mkdir means make directory. Then for removing directory, it will be like rmdir. No, removing directory. Say new, execute it. Now print os dot list of our directory, and you will see that the new will not be there. So in our real life scenario, as I told you that when you will be creating one file or the major file, the most conventional way is using the make dir. So the subfile if you create, then it will not throw any error and it will be worked through. Similarly, when you be removing directory, the most preferred one that the people will use will be the rmdir, remove directory. Why? Because there is another thing is called, suppose os dot remove, is remove dirs, remove dirs and new. So if we use that remove dirs, I need to specify the entire file like this. So the remove dirs, if we execute that, then it will not only remove your new2, but also the subdirectory already presented there. If we check that os.list directory, then it will not be there. The entire directory is automatically removed. So always it's really good to use the remove directory. Sometimes you may not be aware that some subdirectory is already presented or not. So that's why it's general people will use that remove directory. So the inside one will be there. Okay. Suppose you want to get some information from, suppose this is a file, you want to get some information from that. So that time we can use like print os dot os dot stat, os dot stat and our file name. So path is changing. Let me check. But the path is not taking.
It's
So
test.txt, sir. You're typing text.txt. Due to
oh,
that,
sorry.
we are getting it.
Thanks. Taste na. So when we'll be retrieving the basic stat of our text file, maybe that result is not relevant. Okay, but some relevant thing is like that uh, that the size. Okay, that thing is relevant, and some aim time. Okay, the modification time, because those other part will be relevant to the developers. Those are the terms. But for us, some relevant term like the modification time. Okay, say suppose that the size, if we want to create one size like say print, because it's nothing but one instance. Okay. Instance we'll be discussing in the next part. So you can simply call that instance using like say history underscore or size, and the size will be the 98 something. Uh, so those are the instance, the link or styd gid. Okay. So those instance is nothing but the variable, the class variable to be presented in the OS module. That's how you can simply ask from the variable that we values will be there. Like simple, we will be, I mean, we did that in the simple variable part in Python. It's nothing but we in this module we asking that variable, the class variable, so that value is printed. Okay. So now
Sir,
you can
what is meant by ST, sir? Star.
this st this stat is nothing but giving you some basic statistic. Okay. Some stat values like the size. Okay. some say good example is a time, okay, like modification time. Which time I am trying to modify it. Okay, which time I'm trying to retry, which time to control C time. So those are the basic statistic it will follow. It may not be relevant, like the all part is not may not be relevant, but suppose this one print waste.stat is the module. Okay, in the inside the waste module, some another inside module is the stat module. It's not the statistic of like relevant to data science. Okay, this is not the statistical analysis. Its statistic is the some context behind that file, some context we may be required while we'll be working. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so one good example is say test and then dot our st dot m time. Okay, this is the modification time. Now, yeah, one more thing is that one more date time module is presented. Maybe tomorrow I will cover it. Maybe go a little fast. So using the date time module, sometimes we get information like those kind of Unicode. Okay, some numbers. Okay, some time delta will be receiving. So maybe we had to reformat it, and the date time module is general. Means our real life scenario we majorly use. So if we get that number, now we have to reformat it using our the current date time. So that's why we had to import that module tomorrow. Maybe okay, tomorrow I will cover that the date time module because it's important. So first import the date time from date time, import date time, and then say our set one variable, say our modification time. Mod time is equal to this one. These are mod time. Now reformat it using from timestamp. So this is one timestamp that will be receiving. So from timestamp, this I spell it correctly. Our no, I'm reading it slightly wrong. This will not be written like that. This will be date time dot from timestamp, and this is our object. Now you can see that some time means exact time. Okay, some exact modification time it will be written. That which time it will be created, the file will be created, those kind of things. So that's why date time module is important because the some value will be receiving maybe kind of some time delta format or maybe kind of some time standard time. It will not be received is the basic like date, month, year, and hour, minute, second. Sometimes you need to retract from it. So that time module is generally or the majorly used. But tomorrow I will try to explain that. So tomorrow there will be a date time module. One will be your regex part and another will be our try and exception handle. Okay.
Current time we can't get, sir. Day and time. Current.
Do like see.
Okay.
Okay. Execute it. No, actually this is not the current time. Okay.
Yeah.
The current time from the date time module we can easily detect. There is one easy function for it. Okay. Tomorrow I had that module and tomorrow I will explain that.
Okay. In this operating system we can't get. OS we can't get.
Now OS we can't get. That's why we OS because OS sometimes it's necessary for the developer. That's why those kind of partial functionalities it will be presented. Okay.
Okay.
So sometimes we may had to use that. So we had to convert it like in your required format. So that's why simply using our date time mode. Okay. Simply this is one part. And
So you had mentioned that Linux also, no? To download Linux, we can
no,
download from
don't download it. Okay, I will give you some if you
link.
need it, I will give you like from which you can study through like basic Linux concept. It's not necessary, it's
Okay.
completely up to you. Maybe in future when
Yeah.
you definitely not maybe it's definitely if in your future when you will be working. Okay, if you working in the basic and like some data analyst and the other file, then it may not be required. But when we working with you have to work through with some cloud engineer, okay, some DevOps work. So sometimes you have to use the one cloud architecture like AWS, okay, or naito Google one,
Okay.
sometimes Microsoft Azure.
Yes.
So it may be required that day,
Okay.
that time. That's why I have I had to find it. I had one file, means one text file that from where the major 50 or the 60 commands you had to use in your Linux file. So maybe some online module will be there. So yeah, you can simply go there and find means write your command, like practice it through. I will find it out and inform you later, like which you can do there. Okay. Because installing another Linux system currently is not necessary and it will maybe hectic. Those kind of things, if we know like basic commands, which commands is for which purpose, means purpose of the work, then that time when we working with the real life scenario, it will be really handy. That's why I tell you. Hmm. So this is nothing but the major ways, but that another important thing is the waste module is that yeah, that the directory part. That what I am forgetting. Suppose say do one thing. Let's change that current directory. Okay. Waste dot change directory. Suppose change it to our text. Now if we check like print waste dot get, it will be this is a current working directory. Now there is, suppose if you want to find like when we'll be working with the list, what is called, if we that thing we already did, let print os dot list directory. So it will gives you the bunch of files and the folder it will be presented. Now suppose if you want to get a tree like structure, say which not the simple like the folder name or the file name, but also retrieve information like what is the inside presented and the much other thing, like walk through each and every direct in the folder and retrieve some of the major information that the presented. So for that there is one function is presented that is called os.work. Now os.work, it's means from the top directory it is at least retrieve like sub if I remember, then it will retrieve at least two more the subdirectory presented inside it and some useful one. So there will be one directory of the path that will be retrieving. Okay. and the inside there some subdirectory of the file names that is the presented the another the second one, and another one is the entire your means path that's got one directory, one file, and the folder. Okay, so those three things it will be returning in using that function that was dot works. So to determine that we can simply use one loop. So going through each and every loop means it's to return one tuple, and from the tuple the one we can retrieve a file. If I write means if we simply return os dot work and our current directory like os dot chdin, you can also no current directory, no sorry, current name get cw current working. So sometimes people hardcode that the entire directory there, but I am not recommend. That's why the using the commands will be really necessary. So the error maker means sometimes you had to decode means sometimes you have to resolve that the errors you'll be receiving. Say in example, say this is one module. Suppose OS module you created, you are the developer, or so maybe you are the AI developer, and you created this module and you goes for the production, you already hosted your module. Now suppose some errors, definitely it will be not like 100% accurate will be running there. Some first you will get some errors, you will try to resolve it, then another next time production you will receiving another error, and in future you will be definitely some bugs and errors you will be receiving. So when you will debugging that file, that time maybe you will be debugging and get the error because of you hard code that part. Maybe in your system the current working directory may not be same, so you simply use that function which.cwd. That things I said before, like suppose in the my path of working path it may not be same as yours, so we will not hardcode that path, we can simply using that functionality to get the current working directory on your system, and then it will automatically resolve that means the error it will receive. So that's the major advantage of using the OS module. Okay, so this is our current working directory. This is one generator. Okay, what is generator? I will see, means shows you in that file time when we will be starting oops concept, but its generator will be generating bunch of files. For now you can think like that, its generator will be creating the entire bunch of files, and then each and every files we need to yield through it. So for yielding that part we can simply use, for now we can simply use for loop, but we'll discuss generator in another session maybe after the festival. Then that time you will be go so that the what is the major advantage, the importance we'll use in daily life, means in your daily life of Python you already use the major advantage of the generator object. Okay. So this is creating one tuples where we'll be receiving, one is the path of the directory. Okay, this is in our current there. Then one is the name of the file path, and the subject is be presented. So that for now let's create for one is our directory path, one is our directory names, and another is our file names. Okay, in that generator, and then we'll be printing print say current path and our directory of path, print current directories, or better I'll write directories, not the directories, and then their names, that one is the file present. So, files file names, right? One new line. After that printed one new line. Now execute it. You can see that first current path is our one is a director desktop directories. Those are the directories presented. Those are the files presented. Okay. Next, it will take one like the prac, this thing, then that thing, and so many. You will say so many because the one thing is in my desktop you can see only how many. It will be majorly 15 or 18 bunch of files, but in your Microsoft Windows, the if we had that original, which if we had the original Windows installed in your system, then this desktop will be automatically connected to your OneDrive. So suppose some files may not be here and some files may also be presented in my OneDrive. So that's why you can show the huge chunk of files will be there. Okay, like this is our current file. There are no directories to be presented, and one simple one file is present, one garbage file will be present, or the temporary file is presented. That's why so many things is written here. Okay, one module and so many things. Huge. Because I had others project, that's my OneDrive folder. That's why so many things written there. So when you will be working in your means real life project, sometimes you had to get that the files and the directory listed somewhere. So you have to replace it sometimes for the modification. I will instantly show now that there one simple modification is the changing the path to it. So those kind of modification you can really handy. Sometimes you have to get one list of it. So for that time you have to walk through each and every directory is presented, like get one tree and the subtree like structure. Okay, one in material science it is called the dendritic structure. So some dendrite formation. So like basically like structure will be there. So that time we can work with that os.work. Okay. Now, one real life or the major uses of our OS module is, suppose say you want to get what is the current directory you are working with. Not that working with means that the current directory I am showing, but the home page or the home path in your system there is called a home path. If we go say environment variables and say so this is our the directories, means the system directory, system environment variables. Those are the directory we working. So like that, there will be some directory called your home directory in your system. Now suppose you have to retrieve that the home directory. So how you will do in general? Okay. You may not know if you're using Mac, then that the because it will be represented as a dictionary format, so the key value may not be same. Okay, say suppose for that the module will be called, that's environment. So what is our environment of that file? If you write os dot environment, you will see that each and everything will be written as your uh, dictionary format, where in the end you will see that the path, and those are the path means the system variable that I will show you there, the system variable. Okay, Those are the system variable. Now here definitely one path will be there. It's called, yeah, this one. This is my called home path. Okay, by our home. Sometimes if you're using Mac, the home path may not be same. This will be written as a home. You have to check according to you. So suppose you have to retrieve what is your home path. Okay. Suppose sometimes you installed some files. Okay. It will be installed your common program files. Okay. Sometimes some installed file has the module will be presented in your home path. Okay. Like the Jupyter notebook in example. When you install the Jupyter notebook, the installed file program files will be presented in your common program files, but the files and the folders, the module will be situated in your home path. Okay, it will be on your home drive and your home path. So if you want to retrieve that home path, then simply we can use one function is called get. Like the get this is get. Get is function working with not only with but the other modules also. And now like in dictionary when we will retrieve the value of the keys, we can also use the get function. So we're using the get and our keys value home path. So we receive that home. Okay. Uh, it may not be similar. Some even the home path, if you modified it in your Windows system file, then it can be different. Okay, so it may not be similar to mine. You can go through like ISO and check which is your home path and write the key name of your home path. Like for mine, it is simple home path, so it will be retrieving. Now, what I try to say is, suppose this is our home path or I am working. Say I want to add one directory or one file there. Sometimes say suppose I want to means a new file. In simple example is I'm creating one new file, and that new file I want to add it there in that home path. Okay, from that path I will be creating. We can simply hard code that like previously I showed you in the file handling part. You can simply create like one new file is in that open file. But here also say suppose you want to create one advantage is you can simply jump to that directories and create one new file. Okay, say take mm, sorry, first write me the code which is os dot environ dot get and our this is our current working directory. Okay, and I'll be creating one text file. Say demo text dot txt. That file I'm creating and create one another variable to retrieve that path. This is file path. Now if you work like that means it is here you can write like it is simply nothing but hard coded because I am giving one home path then creating there, and if we print that file path, you can see that major things will be missing is that part. It will go inside that the user that the file, and there one missing that forward slash. So it may not be goes inside that the directory. It simply created one error, means one base error. It not be syntactically. but one base error, and the file name is different, and there is some bunch of other garbage things will happen. So if we miss one space or sometimes slash when you hard code it, it will get error, means similar kind of error like that. So that's why when we creating one file or maybe adding, not that sometimes this is the file will be adding, sometimes some directories we have to concatenate. Okay, we'll hard code that, so the result will not be you will get what it will set means desired, or what it will want there. So we definitely do like the means the file handling part, but the writing one new file using that with open and all. Okay, those things we already see, but here also in OS module we can simply add it like one base there. Okay, and we can use that path one is the called the path module. We can simply use that path module, and using that path module we can simply join. So say our file path, and from that point, like suppose if I give a simple example, did that thing will be really clear when you will be working with Django. But for now, suppose you are working in your hypothetical scenario, you're working with a project, and this is one path you need to add and retrieve some file. For that project, this is another part you want to add and retrieve some files. So for that time, if you have to purposely add it or the mention that the dot file path will be there, so there will be no current working problem you will be receiving. Okay, it's like file is not found or the directory is not found, those kind of things. For that time, we'll simply use the path module. Okay. So OS dot path, and from that path, there will be tons of functionalities will be present. You can see absolute path, base name, common path. Base name is nothing but creating one temporary directory. Okay, directory name, those kind of means much more functionalities will be given. Now we will be using that join, I guess, os.path.join, and join this and create means the new one to our base currently working. os.path.join. Here you can see that we have to give that paths, and the start of paths means arbitrary arguments. How many arguments we have to set? Sometimes it may not be. You can take infinite number of arguments. Okay. So let's write. One is our this one, the current home path. Okay. And another is one, this one, our text file. Now, if we print file path, you can see inside there is a demo text is presented. If we hard code there, it maybe goes through the drive, so it's not showing there, but it's already written with the users user file, and that demo text is created. So whenever you try to join or the concatenate with new files or the directories, you do not concatenate using, it's possible using the plus sign because it's concatenate nothing but simply try to avoid those files, because it may not throw any error, but it will simply may not gives you what the desired that you will wish for. So
Sir, it
using
will, sir, it will be in environmental system variable or in our directory.
it will be
You had
it will be
mentioned.
not your system variable. Okay, it will be, I will say it will be based on the current, you the current environment you will be working there. in your means for any project or for any file you'll be current working. For that there will be one called environment variable. Okay. So that environment variable you will be working in
Okay.
that environment one, it will be added. So suppose it may not I mean, in simple example, suppose you will be working a project which will be situated in your suppose D drive, local drive D, and
Yeah.
some file and the module you install, and that the file will be presented in your C drive. Now inside your D drive maybe some new project folder, and this is our current working folder. The folder will be working. Now when you join that path to means current working one, then suppose some inside your local disk C, some call another directory called module will be there. Now if you add module to your means current project folder, then it will be added. So for that environment, that the current working one, you will receive no error and it will work to like the retrieving files. Okay, those kind of stuff. So when you restart in your system, or maybe you will not work that project, then in your OS system, means in your Windows system, you may not get the desired errors. So the path may not be there, or the directory may not be there in your environment variable, the system variable. But for the current working, the current project scenario, you will receive no errors. Okay,
Thank you.
because if I gives you one simple example, I did not have any, but when you will be working, suppose one web application you will be building. So when web application you will be building, there will be in your current project folder, there will be one folder where you will write the front end code. Okay. There will be one folder you will be write some back end code. There will be one folder, there will be presented some static files, say some image or some music, some videos will be there. Now when you will be working with the backend codes, that current folder may not be same to your static one, so it will definitely some errors. So you have to, not the change, you have to concatenate that the static folder to your जहाँ पे तुम backend वाले folder use कर रहे थे. Okay, so you have to concatenate the static folder to your backend one. So when you will working with the backend folder, you may have to import or we have to retrieve some images or some music mp3 files, so you will receive no errors. So that time we will concatenate there. Okay. This is kind of real life scenario, because it will not change if we goes to our system files, it will not change there, or some files will not be there. It will only work for your current work. Okay. So one thing is one way is the open method, while opening the file, writing method, file writing, while we'll be creating new files. And we can also create a, this is major another advantage, means you did not have to like only working with the file, you can also with the directory and you can simply add it. I simply use a file because this is one text file. Sometimes the directory will also be there, and we will see in the Django time, we will see. So one minor things left in the OS model, that is called our mm, the when yeah, the minor thing is called the base name. Okay, OS dot path dot base. So in the OS module, the as I told you, the base name will nothing but create one temporary file. If we create like say temporary our test.text, it will not show in here because it will create one temporary, it may not be existed in your system, but for working it is nothing but in your cache file or the temporary file, you will see that one simple text file will be created. You will also see that the extension is not right, the text, but it will not throw any error because it is just creating one temporary file. If you need to work something for the temporary, like some uh, getting information and other kinds of stuff, okay, some manipulating something, then we will create this kind of temporary file. If we check like say os dot path dot directory names, you will see this is not exist because it's nothing but our temporary file. Okay, that's all. So if we want to check if the reality of yours, it's already present os dot path dot, there is one called exist. If we paste there, so you will see it will receive false. So it is not presented there. Okay, it is just simply some temporary file. Sometimes maybe say there is one called os dot path, so split because some information say temporary dot txt. So for the base, it will be splitting into the directory and the file name. Okay, sometimes you have to. I will show you that the when we will try the automatic parsing, that time we will be using some other functions like split, exist, okay, directory name. If you want to check, then there is called is dir. You can go through if you wish. You can search through the web in Google. Gigs for gigs or some Python program is okay. Python. Here you can go through some. You will get definitely some file handling part. Just go through it. You will see definitely so like OS, GitHub, CW, those kind of parts. The major things is needed. That part I already covered. Rename. If we get any question, just note it down. Okay, tell me later and I will try to find it out. But the major things we had to work with in general daily life, then those syntax and the commas I already covered it. Okay. Always. Suppose
Sir,
hmm.
sir, when to use forward slash and backward slash? You are using two slashes.
Oh,
No?
I
Little bit
create one mistake.
confused.
Do not use the for backward slash because backward slash has other meaning. Okay, you may not
Escape character.
escape character. You can see.
So, sir,
Then yeah,
in
tell
that
me.
case, uh, we can use a double backslash.
Double backslash you can use. I was about to the double backslash you can use, but better to use forward slash. So yeah, that's why it's not showing because I was seeing that the error because if we create the base name, creating one temporary file, then the temporary file should be shown using the directory name. Okay, we execute. Yeah, the temporary things should be shown, but the file should not be exist. That part is fault. That's why I'm. You can see I'm getting one error, but as the Python by default the error handling module, it will automatically means ignore that error. Okay, so in your daily programming for the daily programming module, you may not face any kind of difficulties. Thanks. This is I did the mistake because when you if we do the backwards and then it should like double slash. This will be right like this kind of things. But better you will write the forward one. Okay. And there is like is directory. If you want to check it is a file exist or not, then is file. Then you can split one like called split text. We call like split text. We will be definitely working with like how, because sometimes you have to work with splitting the file names in the file test, remove it and exchange that position, those kind of stuff you have to definitely do through, means go it through. So in the automatic part, so when, because in the modern times, when you'll be creating one file and all, then the automation, for the automation part, it will cause the automatic parsing that file. You have to create one function of the module, check
Near
that.
false also we can get true, I think so, sir. Near existing os dot path existing, if you can have run again, maybe we'll get true.
Nah,
Why?
because that path is exist only the temporary one. Okay, means it not real, means if
Okay.
in our real directory,
Yeah.
it's not directory. If we search like say suppose this one, okay, if we copy it, say easy, now you can see true, because in a real inner system it's presented, but for the temporary creation it is not presented in our system.
Okay,
That's why it says the false.
I understand.
So this is the last of the simple is the automatic parsing. Okay, say for I had to use one file. Say this is our file where those all videos are presented. Now suppose I have to change it, because if we sort it out, it is not sorted based on this hashtag one is the sun, then the comes on the ascending order, but also if you want to change it out, you have we have to like manually rename it. Now the thing is here it is simply like by 10 or 10 files will be present. Suppose there will be 100 or 1000 files will be there. So or maybe you will be working with the server and you will not be allowed with the basic like the user interface to rename that file. So that time we definitely had to use the file handling part. So for using that file handling part, then we can reassure like from exchange position and modify that name and all kind of stuff. Here in that also, as I told you, that the basic Python concept in general is really important also when you will be working the file handling part. So definitely you will see some functionalities we can use while parsing that those things is a part. So you can see for our system we can simply parse it using the dash one, means to split it and then rearrange it, this kind of stuff. Okay, so let's do, suppose for our, this is our current working data, so let's change it. So as well as we will be doing, means almost not only that file handling operation but other kind of operations. So always be cautious and do it step by step. Do not, because in Python you can jump steps by using like suppose a multiple function inside your function. Those kind of things you can do, and we will see in the when we will studying the higher order function in our books concept. But here always definitely we'll be doing many things. So be cautious with the step by step process. Like first we need to changing the directory. So this is our current working directory, and now our this will be our new directory that will be working through. So we have to change that. So you all already know that for changing that current directory, you can do like ways dot changing directory, and our this. Now I can show you how we can do like backslash and using the double slash. Now ways dot this is the current working directory. Change. Now let's see that for all current file is already presented there. So for that we can simply write one loop, we say for I in os dot this directory, as we already know the os module print. Simple. Okay, these are all candidate. Now first what I had to do is first we had to split one. Okay, so split is what we have to remove that mp4 part. Yes, we can simply using that the split text, so we can get one tuple format, and another is a dot text file. You can see, say if we print I dot, this is os dot path dot split text and paste I, you simply get the tuple form. Okay, you can also do like that, but let's I will try to do it like in the simple or the manual, means the most simple and the basics way. So now it will be doing like major and almost 10 or 15 steps. So always, as I told you, that the many things when you will do go like step by step. So similarly for I, or say this is make it most relevant, because as I told you that the format will be working in the real life scenario. The name, the file name, the directory name you will take, it will be like most uh, relevant to the current version. So as I am working with the file handling part, so let's call it as f in os dot list directory and print like that. Now suppose I want to split that. So if I want to split that, then you can simply write like with dot path dot split text, split text will be splitting. Now after split that, as I will share you here, suppose let's keep open that file. If we split it here, you can see that the first tuple element is that one, and the next tuple element in that one. So first will be our file name or file directory, and second will be our file extension. So let's create two variable where we'll be catching from what the file name and another for file extension. Okay, so say our file name, so if name, and second will be our if extension equal to os dot path dot split text, and now enter our name and print our if extension. Let's see this. you can see that I am receiving one error. Can you find it out? Which error I am receiving?
Everywhere we are getting
No.
/3.
Everywhere I am getting the same name.
Yeah. Why? Because
First, let's check the loop is printing. So this thing is correct. Now the next thing is this one. So maybe, yeah, I did that mistake. I did that I. So I, what it will do, it will remember the last one, that the Venus one. So the Venus is printed. Changes to it. Now it's correct. So we'll get the extension and the file name. Now extension we not required for now, that MP4. So we have to work through with, means if I have to sorting with ascending order, then I have to the number part from the first position, and we have to remove the hash tag. So let's comment it out the printing statement. Now we have the file name and the file extension. Now let's, if this is our string, if we first we have to split it out. So which basis we have to split is up? If we split out using the space, blank space, then here it will create one string. Here it will also create one other string. Here it will create it from the another string, and it will be really hectic because there will be major many more text it will come, and it will may not be required. So you can see for now the one notification is the dash sign or the minus sign. If we split it through, then one part is the earth and the space it will be catching, another will be that part will be catching our solar system, and another will be that space and the remaining part will be catching. So if we write, say, print if underscore name dot split and dash, this is why what I want to get. Now we can reposition itself. First I have to remove that the space, but for now we have to create three variable so we can cache those values. Okay. So this is correct. We can split is using that. Now let's comment it out and create three variables. Say first is our, that part you can call is our title. Okay. Second part is our context, or maybe say course or subject, whatever you want to say. And next last part is our ordering number. Okay. If title, that is our course, and underscore I will say number. So if name dot split based on dash. Let's print it out. If I print if title, it will be enough, I guess. If title should print okay. So we catch that the extension part. Now you can see that the one problem is that a space after the earth there is called and one space. This is called another space. You can see another space here. So We can even, I guess, before the extension, there will definitely some space will be there. So the number. Definitely the space is there. So to remove that space. So for that, as I told you that those things we are using is nothing but the basic string function, the string functionalities. So there is one function in your string called strip, strip. It will remove that empty spaces before and after of a string. So if I write, just copy those things and say f underscore our title is equal to also title dot strip, and if we print it out, now you can see no space is there. Okay. Similarly, we can do for our course dot strip, and for our number also. Okay. Now it stripped it out. If we check again, then definitely there, yeah, you can see there is no extra space will be there. The garbage space or the blank space is removed. Now we can do is basic formatting because we want to get in the order. Now let's order it. Say our new name is nothing but say dot format. Right, that's how format when using the string. Now there will be first our cursor for writing the extension. This is, sorry, not the extension, the number. Then next cursor, maybe use dash. Then for our the name, then our subject name. This is mm, f underscore course underscore course, and now the last part is our extension. So file underscore extension print print it out. Now you can see that those part came first and so on the rest of it. Okay. Now there is one problem you can see that still we cannot sort it out is in that number. Okay, because that the hash is presented, hash digit is presented. We have to remove it out. So you can do one thing is you can also, yeah, we can use the basic uh, that what is called, this is string uh, element, means we have to get that element from that second position. So we can simply use the first one, means ignore the first one. So for the number, if we write 1, then colon, and the rest. So whatever will be start, we'll take from 1, and from the colon, we'll get in the rest. If we execute, yes, we get that one. We get our new file. Okay. Understood?
Yes, sir.
It's simple. It's nothing but we'll be using the basic string function it is there to automate parsing the names. So this is our finals. Now there is, uh, you can see the two thing is the course or solar system is may not be looking good because it's repeating. The same thing is repeating in our coding system. When you will create the final one, the same things repeating same things is may not be means looks good or may not be desired for the clients and the other things. So we can remove that part. And still one more thing is, if we means order is ascending order, then it's okay, it's nothing a bit problem, but the entire text is still considered as your string format. Okay, so if we sort it out using the sorted function or other thing in Python, so definitely it will try to sort from 1 2 3 4 and those like that, but in the end when it will try to sort the first one and the 10th one, it will may not gives you the desired data because the number one and number one will be considered as the top priority. So maybe you will be getting this one will be your first, or maybe this one will be your first and the Pluto one will be your second. So one logic you can do is, if we add one zero before, if we add one zero here, the before that number, say, then definitely it will, when sorting it out, that the zero will be trying to sorting from the first position, so 0 1 will be getting the first prioritize rather than 0 1 0. Okay, when you will sort in Python the 1 and 10, because it will start from the first digit is 1, so it will may not understand that it will be, you will be talking about the number of 1 and number at the 10. Okay, because the format will be string. So if we add 1 0, then the first question, then 0 1 will be definitely counted the 0 2 in the second most priority, and then it will go to the ascending order. So let's check if you can add 1 0. You can do it like, you can concatenate 0 there in that number. You can add 1 0 plus, you can do plus, and starting the starting question you can add 1 0. But there is, if I remember, there is another called Z field. Yeah, the Z field method. Yeah. The Z field method is as zero in the beginning of the string. So if I write here like dot Z field, and then when to there is for the first position, because Z field is nothing but it will consider how many character we will be getting. So if we write, you only consider the first two character, because after the zero added, then next after the one and two it will be considered as two character. So if we write two, then only single zero will be added, should be there in my logic. Say Z fill is nothing but adding more zeros there. So if we want to add only the single number, sorry, only the single zero for that number. So if we want to add the single zero, so we can write like two. So it will consider only the first two zero, first two of them. Okay, what will be rest? Because the 10 will be there, so it will not bother. It maybe 100 will not bother. Only the first two one it will be added 1 0. Okay. Let's see. We execute that.
And sir, if I write 1, then
If we write 1, then it will not be added. Say suppose better we write 3. If we write 3, execute it, then it will consider 3 character and the first 2 will be added.
okay, okay. So
Okay.
3 is a total number.
3 is a total means area. If you
Yeah,
remember,
but
I
the
am
total length
hmm,
actually.
in our session. I was, if we saw my videos there, if I remember our session, I will give a lot of space here. There maybe say 50 or 70 of space, and I try to do that Z fill there that time. So you, if we remember, there one, two means very little number of zero is added because then the rest number is already considered as the empty text.
Sir, if we write only fill, we can't get
No,
dot fill.
dot fill.
Yeah, in pandas we do.
No, that's why I written dot.
No, sir, you had written Z now. What is meant by Z? Like,
Z fill is that one method, one string method.
okay.
If we go
If
back
we
to
write, if we write dot fill, then also in pandas we'll get fill NA and all, right?
yeah,
In
dot
that,
fill. This is yeah, definitely. But dot fill is the method working with data frame.
yeah.
Okay, Z fill is the method working with string.
Okay.
Those are nothing but a string. As I told you, you can see this is nothing but a string. So obviously, if we if I say data frame is nothing but the concept will be according to your dictionary like structure. Okay,
Yeah.
so the column will be considered as a key, and rest of them is your values.
Okay.
So whatever you will be working with data frame, the concept will be means in your mind. You should be practicing as a sense of the dictionary because the format is like that.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
here is nothing but a string. So string for the easy method is called zfill. When there is in your data frame, there is another thing we can do using that the numpy.
Yeah.
For the numpy, there is another types of fill will be there. So if we want the entire matrix, the entire format using which number you want to means ones, zeros, ones, it will be filled there. Okay.
Yes, sir. I got it.
So Zfill, if I remember, if we go back through the session, I told you there that some empty space will be there and some one and two zeros will be added. That that much part I can means remember for now when I was teaching about the Zfill the string class. You can go back to the session, but Zfill is nothing but entire area. Whatever string will be there, suppose it is a 10 digits string. Suppose this is a string. If we write print a string dot z fill, suppose 2, you will see nothing will be printed because it's already presented. It cannot modify that the string will be written. If we give the extra space, suppose total count of the fifth space, then rest will be added to 0. Now here if we consider means as a ascending order, if we consider means ordering itself, then leave the 10th part. Other element, if we start ordering from the 0, then 0 1 0 2 0 3 will prioritize. After the 0 9 we have to get the values 10 that is already presented. So if we write 2 and execute that, then that 0 1 0 1 0 2 0 3, okay, those things came. and the 10th is remaining the same because it's already present, means that two element is already presented, single element present for that. Okay. Yeah, you will be receiving that. Why? Because one thing is confusing. If I comment it out and show you that part only, then it will be much helpful. You can see now. So only the two element is considered because the 10th is already presented. So there is nothing, blank space is there too much filled. Understood, I guess. Clear na that part?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we had done everything. This is our new name. Okay. As I told you, that part is also not necessary our solar system. We can simply means ignore it also. So we copy it. I'm not means deleting that code because it will help me you guys out. So new name. Now the solar system is our course part. So this is count the third. Let's remove that part also. Okay. Then our new name will be much clear. Now let's rename our file. So os dot rename. Our old is this one. This is our old file. So F, and this is our new name. So loop by loop, we change it out the new name. Okay. And that loop we can again check. Say print. What is code called? List directory. West dot list directory. So as I already run it, so I cannot run it here. I have to. You can see this is our new name. It's much cleaner. If I run again one loop for if in directory and def. Also, directory. And now this code is look much cleaner. So that's what you can when you have the multiple files and you have to parse that, automatically parse that file based on that position. You can definitely uses our basic techniques and some advanced, because in file handling you can only read and write those kind of parts, but in the real life you have to work like that. Definitely the basic concept always used when you will be working. So check the list of directory with dot list of directories. This one thing you can choose the length. So the total length definitely reasonable compared to the basically. And we keep the directories. These are the file like sorting, count, insert, remove. The list of directories you can use. So that's it, I guess, for the other file for the major file handling, the reading, writing, and the manipulation is like that. Now next will come with me based on the example you will do, and the real life scenario you have to present based. Suppose you have to do one project where you have to automatically parse this kind of file. So if you find those kind of project by yourself through web, definitely go through it by practice it out. So definitely boost your concept there. Okay. But the concept will major part will be game, and it is required is from there. Nothing like on 90% concept is I already covered. Some minor part will be there. It may not be necessary for now, but go through it. If you really need it in the real life, then definitely yeah, means inform me out. Then I will take consider taking another session for it. Okay.
Sir, directly by using sorting, we can't do.
No, directly, but that's why I did. Na? If we directly use the sort, the major problem was first it will start sorting based on our alphabetical order.
Oh.
Okay. I want to sort based on this number, like the sun, based on this that number. Sometimes that's why the file handling part. Okay. Sometimes the major in the real life scenario, you have to remove the extension. Okay. Even the sorting part, if we not the sort that one, that's the example that I am sorting now. But in the general part, you have to remove this extension. Okay. Then definitely there is other kind of work. So whatever you have to do, that major 90 or 95% you have to work is remove that extension, and maybe you have to change it to another extension, or maybe some other kind of stuff will be there. So whatever you will do, majorly you have to you have to done will be removing the extension. Then the other part will give what is the requirement, but you have to do. Okay. So that's it for now. Okay. Tomorrow around that time, today is 10:30 or maybe
Tomorrow.
11. We'll again try to cover those part. Okay. I had that means those assignment. I will send you those assignment maybe tomorrow. That kind of do it, so it will help you like basic practicing those things. Okay, then if you have any question, you can ask, or we can just end that session for today, and we'll meet again tomorrow.
So, sir, and what about, sir, next Monday?
Next Monday is the Diwali, na? Diwali or
Ah,
festival. So
okay,
next
okay.
Monday, Tuesday.
Tomorrow is a substitution.
Uh,
Okay, okay.
so tomorrow morning I will take another session. Okay, I guess you guys are free tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Sir, we are free.
Okay then.